Hi, welcome. My name is Jenna Noah. I am co-owner here at Alchemy of Movement. And today I'm going to be interviewing Erin Ross, one of our teachers here at Alchemy, to discuss a little bit about alignment and keeping your body healthy while dancing. So do you want to say a little bit about or what your role at Alchemy was and what happened?
Yes. So I've been teaching at Alchemy for about a little over a year, and I was teaching 2 classes a week of SoulSweat. And what happened is my foot started to hurt a little bit. And so I was like, oh, my foot hurts a little bit, no big deal. And kept dancing, would try to rest, on the days I wasn't dancing.
Can I ask you a question about it a little bit?
Yes.
So when you say it was hurting a little bit, was it like a little ache or like a twinge?
It was just a little ache. I would call it pain. It was more than just like an awareness of my foot. It was a little pain.
Yeah.
And so I kept dancing and I kept teaching, and one thing I did do was to take ibuprofen to help relieve the pain and keep dancing. And in retrospect, that probably wasn't a good idea. I should have rested that little pain, and then it wouldn't have turned into a bigger pain, which ended up resulting in having to wear a stabilizing boot, like a walking boot, for about 6 weeks.
Yeah. And can you say, just because we have so many people that dance with us at Alchemy and so many people who have gone through the process of having injuries, like what you've learned, things that you wish, I definitely hear the piece around not wanting the wishing you hadn't taken the ibuprofen, which when you want relief, it's sometimes hard to know that.
Yeah.
So that's great to know, but are there other things that you've learned since the injury, specifically about alignment? I know we had a workshop that might really be supportive to people at Alchemy.
Yes. I didn't realize the importance of having a really strong body awareness of kind of holding your body in a conscious manner. I think that I was really focused on the high intensity of the dance and like the letting go aspect of just like really wanting to like let your emotions out, but maybe doing that in a way that was a little too heavy or too stressful on the joints, like a lot of stomping and like jumping, and maybe I feel like in retrospect that I was a little off balance in terms of really holding my body and having an awareness and moving in a healthy way. Also, I think forgetting about how much movement there is in your body without even moving your feet. You could have your feet completely stationary and get a ton of movement in your upper body, squats. I think I was really getting into the steps and jumping, and I think that's kind of where I pushed it too far.
Yeah, and I think, I notice when I look around at other dancers, I think that that's really common. And I think a lot of people in here, they're leaping off the ground, and I notice a lot of the things around the way that they're landing are really very different than what we learned, for example, from Carolyne Rideg. Do you want to say a little bit about foot alignment and some of those basics?
Yeah, Carolyne was mentioning, first of all, like when you are dancing, being aware of how much percentage of your weight is on your feet from side to side.
Yeah.
So if you're up on the ball of your feet, maybe not 100% of your weight is on the ball of your foot, but some of your weight is kind of held back a little bit. And really having and that's that body awareness, like how are you holding your body? And then the other thing is this concept is a little bit hard to explain, but when you are doing a grounding kind of move, lifting the energy in your body.
So if you're like rooting low,
if you are like really digging down into like an earthy kind of move, still having like the energy in your body is held, like there's a certain strength where you're not there's like a balance there.
There's like a holding.
There's
upwards.
A holding, and vice versa. If you're jumping, grounding the energy in your body so that you're moving into a jump, but your awareness is still grounded. And that's a kind of a hard concept to explain. But if you can bring it into your dance and think about it,
it's like when you go up, you're energizing, your energy's coming down in a way, and when you're really rooting down, you're really lifting up. And I think Lucy gives that example a lot of, like, a plunger being on your head.
Right.
Which I think sometimes it's easy to forget. Like, what is she talking about? What she's talking about is a suction, an energy point from the middle, the crown of your head, straight up towards the sky with this energetic upwardness.
But I know that she did for sure say that many of the times we are on the balls of our feet, it shouldn't be 100% of our weight.
Yeah.
Landing on or spending a lot of time pounding on the ball of the foot.
Yeah.
And that's where my injury was. It's on the front of the foot.
Yeah, so interesting because I've been having a little ache lately. And this is why I'm really interested in this topic because I'm like, oh no, I don't want to get hurt. And I've been feeling just a little tinge, you know, and it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really noticed from Carolyne was like this heel lead, being actually like pushing the heel down and then the toe. And I have worn high heels since I was like 16. So I'm used to being up on the toe.
Right.
But then to really hear her say, you know, heel, it's actually retraining my body in a way. And it doesn't even feel as good. It's almost more fun to be up on your toes and springing around. But I feel like that's a recipe for injury. It's this, like you're saying, this kind of unhinged looseness that really can relate to some of these things.
Yeah. Yep. And I think it's a subtle thing. I don't think it's something that's... I think it's something that we have to constantly remind ourselves of when we're dancing and in our teaching, reminding the students of how to hold our bodies. And, you know, because what happens, and I've noticed actually since I've been healing from the injury and I've started dancing again, when I get really into the music and I'm just like on fire, like wanting to just let go, I'll feel that little tinge of injury. So like when Lucy tells us, tighten your private parasol, hold your core really strong when we're doing a big, expressive, releasing move. I feel like that's where the awareness is. And I think that has to do with choreography. I think it has to do with teaching and reminding people how to hold themselves so that you can get that release and that excitement and that like freedom in the music in a safe selves. The other thing that's really important is warming up. That was a huge piece. Starting out slow, stretching a little bit at the beginning, you know, arriving to class a few minutes early, stretching out, being there for those first few songs where we're just literally warming up our feet, our calves, our knees, our hips. That's a huge injury prevention.
Just at the end here, I just want to know a few lessons, takeaways you've gotten from this injury.
Oh my gosh.
I know you're a very active person. You come from a very active family.
I do.
Your partner is a major athlete.
Yeah.
So what have you learned?
So, well, I've learned a lot about vulnerability, a little bit about that. I think I was really into kind of the expression of strength and power through dance. And I've learned that there's so much in the realm of relaxation and like processing of emotions.
I see you're getting a little emotional.
Like I think probably my biggest lesson from this, because I had to stop dancing for about 8 weeks, and I've been dancing at Alchemy as a student and then a teacher for like 4 years.
Yeah,
about
time.
4 years.
Yeah.
I benefit hugely from the emotional processing that happens in a dance class. And I think that happens whether you're teaching or you're a student or whatever aspect, you know, whether you're participating at a really high level or you're kind of hanging back with the choreography and kind of doing it at your own pace, you know, like a level 1 versus level 4 kind of intensity. I think you're still processing so much. And so that has been really challenging. And I think dance processes in a different way than even other activities. You know, what like biking or swimming or running or whatever. Yeah. There's something about the music and the people around you, the community, that is just so healing. Yeah. So that I really missed. I've been like really, I'm happy to be getting back to that. So.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. It's great to have you back on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Do you have any, without pressuring you, do you have any idea about when you might be back in the teaching seat again?
I hope like by late August, early September.
Nice.
My doctor would like me to give myself some time in a shoe. Yeah. And then I can go back to dancing barefoot, but the key right now is that I have to stop if I feel a tinge of anything. So I can't be really in a teaching role if that's a concern.
I really admire how
Yeah.
well you're taking care of yourself.
Thank you.
It's been such a process, and watching you go through it, I just know for me how much dance does for me just as an outlet in the ways that you were saying. And it's been so fun, even seeing you just showing up, to the Shine party recently and just dancing like your hands or on like one leg a little bit. It's like you've just been a huge trooper, and I know how hard it can be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I have learned a ton, and I've gained in my own awareness, so I hope I can bring that back in some way.
Well, and in this way, I think you really are. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.